Hey guys, Christopher here.
Hey guys, Noah here.
This is going to be really interesting tonight.
Probably is.
We have no plan.
We have no plan today. Today's going to be just a laid back one because it's in the spirit of Thanksgiving since Thanksgiving is tomorrow, which is crazy that we're here already.
This year's gone by so fast. I can't
it,
even
re-
wrap my head around it.
it really has. And what's funny is it at times it kind of feels like it's been like it's gone by really fast, but it also feels like it's taken an eternity as well. Only because whenever we look back since Crooked Path was formed, it feels like all the adventures we've gone on is man, like we've been doing this for like a long time at this point. It's like no, we're just hitting the 6 month mark here like
Yep.
next week. Like
Right.
we're just hitting the 6 month mark that we've been doing this. So we think about that, we're like, man, that's crazy. We're just at this point right now, but we're here.
But then when we consider that some of the things we dive into go back 160 years or more, that could also make it feel like what it's so long.
Maybe, I don't know. And then it's kind of like too like I like looking back at the year too and kind of for me personally as an investigator, as a content creator, it's been such a huge year. Like if I look at what I was doing before Crooked Path Paranormal and compare it to even where I'm at right now, it's leaps and bounds compared to what I think I was doing before. And with some of the things that are going on right now, obviously before we got on here we were kind of mentioning the next series that's going to be out there, which for those that don't know, obviously for those that are watching the channel, they're going to know that all the previous projects that we've done before have been either singular movie titles or more of film series, in the sense that there's a part one through maybe three, something like that. But the next series that we're working on is actually going to be more of an actual series that gets put out there. And I'll actually just go ahead and tease the title for that series, since I actually do have the title at this point in time. It is going to be titled Ross House Battle of Souls. So I'm really excited to get that series out there. I'm currently working on it right now. But hopefully we get somewhere with it here very shortly, so that way I can start releasing episodes periodically each week is what I'm kind of planning in my head. So be on the lookout for Ross House Battle of Souls. It's going to be, I think it's really going to take what we've been doing as far as our movie style editing of our videos. I think it's really going to take it to the next level.
It's exciting, really exciting.
It is. It is. So I kind of wanted to get people excited about it. There's going to be a trailer coming out very soon for it to kind of get people in the mindset of it and in the mood for it. So that'll be coming out. Look for that on all of our social medias.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So now that you've had a chance to use it, what'd you think about the new camera?
Oh, it was really really good. Just as all things, as I kind of was looking back at it, there's a lot of tweaking I think I have to do with it and stuff like that. There and that comes with everything, because with every camera you have to kind of learn the piece of equipment and how to use it in the best way. Um, but I will say, I definitely really really liked it. Um, I definitely really liked it. The biggest jump in difference to me really was just even in the audio difference. Like
Yeah.
whenever we were wearing the mics, like the DJI Mic 2s, those were so nice and so crisp. So that was a huge thing. I liked having the three separate cameras at times. That was nice. Um, I did have a little bit of an issue with the GoPro that I think I've solved. It was
Oh,
doing
that's
this
good.
really it was doing this really weird uh glitch in the audio to where like whenever it was filming it would kind of like it would go and then it would like kind of glitch out for a second and then it would kind of like have to catch back up to where it's supposed to be and stuff like that and like it was acting really weird. And so I was actually here at the house and I was kind of testing it out a little bit, like taking several videos just here in the chair trying to figure out what was going on. And eventually I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to reset this thing. And I did, and after I reset it, it stopped doing it. So I'm hoping that was really just a weird glitch in something. Like I don't know if the update didn't quite take the proper way or something. I don't know really, but
That could be.
I reset it, and when I reset it, it stopped doing that. So I was kind of like, well, that's good. But I was kind of upset just in the sense of like because we used the GoPro for a few different things. One was the part that I would kind of have to probably just not use at this point was we shot a cool like scene of Dad and I just kind of like driving down the road, like kind of talking about stuff beforehand. And I'm probably just gonna end up not using that just because like it was the audio was just horrible. And I'm like, yeah, nobody wants to listen to this. This is
All
horrible.
right.
Um, but then luckily, because I was kind of like, there was a big part that we filmed with the GoPro whenever we're sort of I don't want to give it away, but like we were explaining something pretty major to everything that we've been working on. And that was mainly shot with the GoPro and I was like, "Oh no, the audio is going to be all fucked up." But then I was like, "Oh wait, the one like the main camera, actually I think all cameras were still recording at that point in time." So I was like, "Well, I'll be able to use the mics from our or I'll be able to use the audio from our mics.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'll just
good.
stitch, yeah, I'll just stitch those together. Instead of using the audio from the GoPro itself, I'll just use the audio from our mics, and that'll fix that."
Oh, perfect.
So I was like, yeah, we'll get lucky there.
And are you sure the camera that fell over is all right? Is all good there?
It is good. It is good.
Good.
I did check it. It's a strong camera, which that was still weird because um I don't know what made it fall over. That's what is weird. It almost like it was like shoved over.
Well, when we got there, I felt like someone tried to push me down the stairs. So the idea of them pushing a camera over is not that far off.
No, it's not. So, but yeah, the camera is it is good.
Good.
Um, I think the biggest thing with the new camera, and it's like, don't get me wrong, because obviously the visuals, no matter what, are better. The visuals are better no matter what. There was a couple spots though that I'm not gonna say I wasn't happy with, because like that's not the way I want to say it. Um, but there was a couple parts where it was like not blurry, but it was still a little bit grainy than I would have wanted. And then there were times where it was kind of like perfectly like clear, and I'm kind of like, and I was kind of like trying to figure out why that was, and I'm like, I think I think part of it has to do with lighting. So that's where I'm kind of like, that's again where you just kind of have to play with it and figure out what works and what doesn't, because oftentimes that's what helps out a camera the most is lighting.
Right.
And so like if you have proper lighting, it ends up helping out the camera tremendously. So it's again like just something I have to kind of work on and feel out a little bit to like really understand the new camera. But I do have to say, since we're talking about the camera, I do want to again shout out to our absolute, number one friend, supporter, sponsor, Kim Ashworth, because without our sponsor Kim, we wouldn't have been able to get the new camera and the new equipment that we have. And so we are just both so appreciative of everything that she does for us here at the channel, because without her we wouldn't have the things that we do. So I really have to shout her out and just say how appreciative we are of her and everything she does for us.
That was so much fun having her on last week too. That was a
Oh, it
blast.
was. It definitely was. It was so much fun. It was a nice difference to the what we do here. So that
It
was kind
was.
of
I'm sure people enjoyed listening to someone other than just
I we
us.
need to get more guest people on here so that way they have somebody else to listen to every once in a while.
We do. That's why on Monday for Paranormal Playbook, I had my co-host do most of the interviewing. It's like, God, people have to be sick of listening to us. Probably not, though. Really, I mean, we are funny as hell. We're
That's
very
what
entertaining.
that's what I think. I mean, it might be a biased opinion, but like, who cares?
I mean, I know I crack myself up to no end.
Right?
I'm always laughing at my own jokes.
Yeah. So, hey, somebody's got to laugh at them. Actually, yeah. If people here haven't checked out that episode, go check that out. Paranormal Playbook. It's episode 2. I'm on there, so go check it out.
You can find that on the Forever Entertainment channel on YouTube. Forever Entertainment Independent Film Studio. All of their stuff is there, so that's where you can find that. Plus, I shared it on my wall, so
Right.
find it on Facebook, find it on YouTube. But yeah, it was a good episode. That was fun.
It was fun. I like talking with Rachel. I thought she had a lot of really good questions, a lot of really cool insights, and it was also cool just to kind of get to talk to somebody that seems to be very much on the same page as some of the things we kind of talk about.
Right.
'Cause I feel like, I mean, obviously we get a lot of that with, like, you know, your friends that you've introduced me to, and I've gotten to have several conversations with them at this point now. We get a lot of that, but outside of that, you're kind of like, I feel like some of the things we talk about don't get talked about as much.
Right, for sure. I mean, not a lot of people go the places we do.
No, no,
And I
and
don't
they
mean
end up just
location wise either.
no headspace. It's what causes them to like look at us like we're crazy.
But then maybe if they're lucky, we'll cause them to think about things a little differently. If they're lucky.
If they're I think if they ever just spent an afternoon talking, like let me ramble on, I think at least at the end of the day they would think something different. It may not be. It may just be that this guy was nuts, but like they'll think something. They'll have them thinking.
I think after the way our last investigation went, and I'm not going to say much about it, obviously, because
Right.
it's going to be a while until it's out there, and I want people to see it and be surprised. I
Right.
just think that after the way the night went, we could almost like advertise that people can have a night with Zeke. I call this
Book a night with Zeke.
that would either be so much fun or it would be a disaster.
Maybe both. I don't know.
Oh God, I'm horrified.
I don't know how that would go. Um, but then obviously we had a good week just overall. Like I think another thing we can talk about just a little bit is our awesome experience of our very first event that we had Friday at the Thurber House. That was
Oh
such
hell
a
yeah.
that was so cool, and I just want to thank everybody that did show up to the event. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for spending the night with us. It honestly was such a fun experience. I can't wait to do more like that. It really was a really really awesome experience, especially because we had that huge Estes method towards the end of the night where a lot of things ended up, like, we ended up discovering something that it was really a cool moment for me specifically, because I always kind of talk about, like, I really like, I'm kind of like, sometimes we get involved in this, huge storyline that we're working on right now, and I'm kind of like, man, sometimes I just want to go to a location and only talk to the spirits that are involved in that location and stuff like that, and I really want to solve some sort of mystery. And it wasn't necessarily a mystery per se, but like we had somebody come through that at first we were like didn't seem to have any sort of relevance to the actual building. And I was kind of at first sitting there like, oh man, like this is another one of those cases where somebody not from this building is here, needs help, yada yada yada. And the way that it we then found out from the actual people that were there as our tour guides that knew the history, we're like, oh no, that's on the property. And we're like, oh shit, we didn't know that. We didn't know the history of the place.
Mm-mm. That whole thing was crazy when you told me what came through.
Yeah. And so I guess to give people some context, when we were at the Thurber house, we were doing an Estes method as we typically do, and a young woman by the name of Bridget comes through, and we're like, okay, hello, Bridget, like why are you here? And she was actually confused. She didn't know where she was, and we're kind of like, okay, so we started diving down the road, and it turns out that an old insane asylum that had been in Columbus, um, she was a victim of a fire that was there. And at first, everybody was around trying to figure out, like, kind of Googling and stuff where it was. And what was funny was whenever everybody was Googling, like, where the insane asylum was, it was kind of like everybody was getting, like, little hints as to where it was, but none of them were lining up with each other. It was kind of like weirdly, like, nobody could quite get an exact pinpoint on where it was, but b, yeah, it just it wasn't showing to be anywhere really right there. So we're sitting there, we're kind of like, I don't know why she would be coming through. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would she be here? Out of all the locations she could be, why be here? Like, this place has nothing to do with that or whatever. And so the story continues on when we're talking to Bridget, and she's talking about how, like, she's here, but her friends are still in the fire. And we're like, okay, well, we've done this before where we have somebody that can go and sort of locate them and, like, bring them to us. Is that something that you would like to do? And she was like, yeah. And shortly afterwards, that's where she was like, oh, Caroline is here. And I'm like, oh, okay. And this is kind of funny, not funny, but it kind of is. But so she said that there was a total of 5 people. That's what Bridget said. There was a total of 5 people that were caught in the fire. And so whenever she was like, "Oh, Caroline's here," and I was like, "Okay, like, well, do you want to wait a second or and have Jane, my spirit guide, go and get the rest of them?" And she didn't really stick around. I think, like, all she really cared about was that her friend was safe, because then she was like, "Bye." She was like, "Hey, can I go home?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to keep you here. Like, you don't have to stay here." And she's like, "Okay." And then they were gone. So, like, Bridget she didn't care about the other people that were stuck in the fire. She was just like, "I got my friend. We're good to go." So I was like, okay, that was strange. But so then, uh, shortly afterwards, Dawn, who was there with us, she had the good idea to actually just go and ask the people that were still there that, like, did the tours and stuff like that, because they were the ones that really knew the history of the place. She went to ask them, like, "Hey, do you know where this asylum, like, actually was?" And they were like, "Oh, that was here. Like, the insane asylum wouldn't have been, like, right where you're standing, but it's on the property." And it was kind of like, oh my god, like, you're kidding me. Like, that's so cool. Like, we actually were on the property, we just didn't know it. And then it got even crazier, because then, as she's Googling the rest of it, we're kind of like, "Hey, are you able to find the victims?" And she's like, "That's what I'm looking at right now." And she was like, "There was a total of 5 victims." I'm like, "Okay, that's cool," because that's what she said. And then the 2 of the 5 names were Bridget and Caroline. And I was like, "Oh my god." So whenever you have those sort of moments where, like, you don't know the history at all, and then it ends up getting told to you and you end up validating it later, that's it's such a cool moment. And it's like, I can't even describe the amount of excitement you get from that, because as paranormal investigators, we're always looking for any sort of validation as to what we're saying is true. And so when you get those little moments like that, it's just it makes everything else worth it, I think.
I don't remember any of that coming through, of course, like I normally
Right.
don't. But I do remember when you brought me out of it, I think one of the first things I said was, "It's hot as fuck in here."
Oh, you did, yeah.
I was roasting. And when I started, I remember being cold.
You did. The first thing you said when you got out was like, "Man, it's hot in here," which none of us felt hot, and that's what I found. That's what was really interesting to me too. Was that like I'm like, yeah, you were directly feeling what was being said there.
Mm. Yeah, when
It
you
was just,
mentioned the fire after I'd said I was so hot, oh my God.
it was cool. It was cool. Like it was such a cool night hanging out with people, and I got to experience for the very first time because I'd never really done an event like that before. I got to experience kind of doing a solo session with some people, and I think it went well. I think it worked out pretty well. It was definitely fun to just kind of sit there and hang out with people and talk to them and get to explain some of the crazy equipment that we use and crazy way that we kind of go about investigating and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. I had such a good time with the event. I can't wait to do more.
I think everyone did too. I mean, people told me they loved your session.
I mean, that's good. I like to hear that. I definitely like that. I hope people had fun. That's the point of it.
I know the second session got well, the first session, we latched on to something that was very much connected to the history. And this was one thing that I actually did know, because the first time I was ever there, I went into a room upstairs and I'm like, who got shot here? I just, and they're like,
Right.
oh, I was just about to talk about that. I'm like, what?
Right.
So that seemed to be what we landed in the first session. The second session, I got just all these bits and pieces that we were kind of trying to work through. It was weird. I mean, there was illness. You got something about illness.
Yes. Yeah. It was funny too, because like I think for both of us it was the exact same. Where in the sense of, in the very first session, there was a lot to sort of latch on to, and then in the second one there wasn't nearly as much. We actually more connected with something that was personal to one of the people there. We were more connecting with something of that nature during the second one. But yeah, the first one was more of like we latched onto something that was actually of the history of the place rather than anything else. But yeah, so that was definitely weird.
Well, that happened too during my first one, that we hit something personal for someone. It's almost like she
Right.
got her own individual little reading right in the middle of our session.
Well, and it was funny because it was obviously strong enough because basically the people that you had during the first session and connected with something personally were the same people that when we then switched and they came out to me, we then attached to something personal for them.
Right.
So they just had a lot of really strong energy of what was going on for them. And then whenever we found out the timings of certain things, we were like, okay, that makes sense now. It makes sense why that energy is so strong right now. But it was a cool experience. It was a really emotional experience for this person, and I just remember sitting there and I'm kind of like, ooh, because we didn't know what we were latching onto at first. We were just kind of like sitting there going through it, and they're just kind of sitting there like as they're realizing that like we're connecting to their thing personally, and then they explain the whole thing, and I just remember like we were kind of like, ooh, now I feel bad. Like I had one of those moments like we're gonna make these people cry like Christopher does.
It is one of my superpowers.
um, and that's something that.
Let's tell everybody what came through when I had to get up and leave the room because I was going to piss myself.
Oh Jesus! Nah, that's so stupid. You tell it then, because I'm like, I'm like
Oh,
it was
God.
complete and
So,
utter. Just
what even started it? Were we talking about Ed coming through and how he likes to call
I
you a bitch? Is that what started
it
it?
was it was something. It was something of the nature because I think we were just kind of poking fun at certain like we were telling stories about stuff that had happened, and I think we were poking fun at the fact that like, yeah, like I have this spirit that does not like me and everything, and like his nickname for me is bitch. Like anytime he comes through, that's what he calls me. Like that's the only thing he calls me. And that was where here I'll let you tell it because
Before it said what it said, there were a few other things that came through showing agreement with the story that you were telling.
right,
And those little things that came before were just very casual, just simple agreement to, yes, you're telling the story correctly.
right,
Good. Thanks for the encouragement.
right.
Was that on Necrometer that it came through, or was that on something
Yeah,
else?
it was a combination of both Necrometer and GhostTube.
So generally, neither of those apps are going to use the word bitch.
No,
So it had to improvise. Was it Lady of the Night? Is that what
that
it
was what
said?
it said. That's what it said. Is Lady of the Night. And I just remember when it said that, we were kind of like, you couldn't get more close to saying it without saying it than what it just freaking said.
I was laughing
Everybody,
so hard. At first, I was doubled over, and then I realized, oh my god, I have to go. I'm gonna piss myself. I did. I had to leave the room.
that was terrible. I hated that moment.
Oh,
Like why?
oh
Why?
god, now I'm getting warm again.
I want to know who said it. That's what I want to know. I want to know, was it Jane? Was it Travis? Who said this?
I think this could be 50-50. It could be either way.
Could be both.
It could be both. They could have worked together.
Actually, the different responses were coming from the both of them just talking and agreeing with each other. Like
Right. Now I'm envisioning different scenarios for how they could have come up with the final term that they used.
Lady of the Night.
Like,
Well, it probably came from her because like where Jane was, there was a brothel.
right.
So I feel like that would have been a term for one of the ladies of the night. Like
So let's say it did come from her, from his perspective. Did he know that was going to come, or did it take him by surprise? Like he was laughing just as hard as I was.
it's probably the second. That's horrible.
Our spirit guides can be terrible people.
I know. I feel that.
Oh God.
It was a fun night though. It was overall a really good night.
It was a great night. I know that after that last session, when you told me what came through, it just like I was like, I'm ready to go home now. It's just done.
Right. It was so cool. And then obviously we had Monday's extravaganza where we went to Prospect Place and we had a really good investigation out there. Got to test out a lot of the new equipment and stuff like that. Kind of start using that a good bit. So it was overall a pretty good week for us here at Crooked Path. Got to be a part of Paranormal Playbook where I was a guest star on, which that was fun. That was a good time.
Right. And Saturday was the last scheduled flashlight tours of the year at FCI.
Yeah.
I stayed late for the after hours and went on a few adventures.
Right.
Some interesting things came through in the monkey room.
I think it always. Gee, sorry. I'm like tired today. But I think it always will. You know what I mean?
The energy of that room is not the same since what people have now seen in the episode.
And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on YouTube.
I think we definitely took care of a problem and transformed something else that's there.
Right. Right.
I mean, that room's still not normal,
No.
but it behaves differently since we were there. I guess
I
that's
guess
how
that,
I'm going to word that.
yeah, I guess that's the best way to word that.
It behaves differently. I don't know. I feel like there's been times recently that room has been helpful. It's given me helpful things, like it's trying to push me in a certain direction.
Right. Which that kind of lines up with a lot of the other things that we've been dealing with and been told here recently. So it's not a crazy um it's not a crazy thought to think like that. I think that's very much in line of what we've been told and shown.
Right. And one thing I will throw out there, the session we had in there Saturday night, not surprisingly, there were a number of things thrown out pointing back to Whisper's estate.
Right.
I will be there a week from Friday. So.
I know, lucky.
Either this is going to be a great night or it's going to be a shit show. Or both.
Who knows? Who knows?
Everybody else might consider it a shit show, and I'll consider it a great night.
Right. You never know. I know.
If I leave not having been possessed, it was a good night.
I definitely want to go. I definitely want to go back there so we can actually film an episode. And I mean, plus, like we do know that Whispers is somehow connected to everything.
Maybe what happens a week from Friday is what needs to happen for us to go back there. Maybe it'll lead to what we need to dig into.
Right. Who are you going with? I can't remember.
I don't think you've ever met her. Her name is Heather.
Oh,
I met her at my Ross House event.
Oh, okay.
In April. I think it was my April event this year.
Okay. I was just going to say, like, because I think one of the people that, like, we definitely need to try and, like, have go with us to shoot the episode at Whispers is Brent Fair.
Oh, for sure.
So, like, that's what's in my head about it. That's that's the way I feel.
You know the story of what happened to him when he was out there.
Yeah.
I'm 90% sure that Heather, who I'm going there with, caught a picture of what he saw.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I showed you that
you
picture.
showing that. Yeah, showing me that picture.
So the fact that it was willing to show itself to her, I'm very interested in that.
Right.
I mean, I guess I've seen it myself. I told you about when I was sitting upstairs and watched it walk in the room and go right to the caretaker, and it scared the shit out of her.
Right. I'll be interested. You have to let me know if either one of us gets mentioned while you're there.
Right.
Because I feel like that could be interesting. Also, just on the layer of whenever we were there and we kind of got told that, and again, we didn't really necessarily piece together quite maybe as much as like what yours would have been or looked like, but we seemed to get down this idea that one of my past lives was at that house.
Right.
But like I think it was a short one because I think it was actually like I was just a child at that point.
Right.
But I don't know. It was interesting. It was actually the first one I'd ever sort of had that that idea or thing happen.
Yeah.
Is the very first one.
I'd kind of like to just spend a week there.
It'd be nice.
Either we'd get a lot done, or we'd lose our minds, or we'd lose our souls.
You just said that, and it was kind of like it just made me like jump right back to exactly what Ross House's title, Battle of Souls.
I know. That's
and
partially why I threw that out there.
and I titled, like, obviously I can't explain right now as to why it's titled that, but you obviously know that it's very fitting for what sort of happened the entire weekend.
Right.
It very much sort of summarizes what was going on.
Right.
So that's why I think I named it what I did.
I do feel like even as heavy as Whispers is, that statement of we'd lose our minds or we'd lose our souls, I do think even as heavy as that house is, if something tried to take my soul, it would very quickly be like, no, I don't really want this.
It spit it back out. No.
It's too dark for me. This is twisted and sick. It's demented.
Right.
It tastes like coffee and cane sauce.
It's the only thing. Yeah, that's funny.
Breakfast of champions.
It is. It is the only meal. That's it. There's no other option. I was like, whenever we were going out to Prospect Place, and obviously Prospect is in Zanesville, and there is a Cane's in Zanesville, Ohio. It was funny because my dad was able to come out with us, obviously, and help shoot the episode with us. And I remember he was telling me on the way when he was talking to my mom, and they were like, she asked, like, hey, where's Prospect again? He was like, Zanesville. And she's like, well, I know where you guys will be eating tonight. And I was like, well, yeah, it's the only answer.
There's no other option.
And it's
and
like,
I just
even if
DoorDashed it the day before, so I had it 2 days in a row.
it was, for me, it was you, like, who has a Cane's, like, close enough that you can even DoorDash it and be like, I need one closer to me. And it's like, dude, like, I don't even have one that's like anywhere remotely close. The closest one to me is Zanesville, which is like an hour away from my house. So, like, I can't even DoorDash it. And you're over here talking about how you need one closer. It's like, no, I need one closer.
If there was one closer, I'd actually go there instead of just DoorDashing it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably still be lazy and DoorDash it. I'm not gonna lie.
I do love
It's
DoorDash. You know what
what?
just occurred to me? I can't believe I didn't think of this sooner.
What?
Friday, I'm taking a road trip to Tennessee
Right.
with Shelly from the jail.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Buc-ee's. I hadn't even thought of it until now.
I don't know how you didn't.
It never even occurred to me.
Yeah, I don't know how you, like, didn't think of that.
Oh, I'm more excited about that now than I am Thanksgiving dinner. Where do you want to go for your birthday? Buc-ee's!
That's a little bit of a drive, I think, for a birthday party.
Not for much longer. There's going to be one in Dayton soon.
Well, I guess that's true. I don't know. Dayton's still kind of a drive.
They're also building one 30 minutes from where I used to live in Milwaukee. So when I go home for a visit, it's nice to have that option.
I guess that's true.
They're slowly taking over the world.
I've been to Buc-ee's. I've been to Buc-ee's one time, and that was when I was on. We were going down to Tennessee for our vacation in Pigeon Forge. We stopped at Buc-ee's on the way, which I sent you that picture of me stopping at Buc-ee's.
Yes. Yes,
we were
I was
actually
excited for you, and I was jealous all at the same time.
We was actually at Buc-ee's for 2 hours because whenever we were driving down, it was us and then my best friend Gage and his wife, and they had the baby with them, and so obviously we had stopped at the Buc-ee's so that way they could tend to the baby a little bit, and so we ended up like being there for like 2 hours, so that way the baby had like enough time to like eat and get changed and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so we got stuck at Buc-ee's for like 2 hours, but it was a good 2 hours. I mean, we had stuff to do.
That's like one of the greatest places I can imagine spending 2 hours.
And then I will say that we had this really funny experience while we're sitting at the Buc-ee's for 2 hours. So we're sitting and we've got he's parked in the gas pump in front of me, and I'm in the gas pump behind him, which there's like 100 fucking gas pumps like right there at Buc-ee's. So like, it's like a mile road of gas pumps. But anyway, so we're sitting there, and we're actually they're in their car tending to the baby and eating a little bit, and then we're sitting in the car behind them, kind of eating as well. I was having one of their big brisket sandwiches.
Yes.
Yeah, I had that, and I think some of their what was it? It was like sugared cashews or something. Is what I think I had. But anyway, we're sitting there, and they've got the workers out there like wiping down the gas pumps. I've never seen this before. I've never seen where they just have people out there like just wiping down gas pumps. But they do. They was out there wiping gas pumps. And there was this point where we're sitting there, and my buddy Gage, he's in the car in front of us, and he's got his door open, obviously, because like they're actively like in and out tending to the baby and stuff like that while they're trying to eat like us. And instead of just skipping that gas pump and going to the next one and going back to it whenever we're gone, they're literally working around my buddy that's going in and out of his car. They're just sitting there going around and working, and I'm like, that's some dedication right there. Like, and I just remember sitting there like, what is happening right now? Like, just move to the next gas pump. Like, eventually we'll be gone and you can go clean that one. It was so funny. It was also maybe more funny because I was also like sleep deprived at that point because we had been up for so many hours. So that might also factor into it. But and actually, it was a good drive though. Like, it wasn't bad. I think it was a 7-hour drive.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but like at the same time, like nobody really wants to get in the car and drive for 7 hours straight.
Right.
Nobody wants to do that.
Well, this weekend's going to be a whirlwind, driving from here to Paulding, Paulding to Tennessee, back to Paulding, Paulding to home, and then home to Cincinnati for the Stevie Nicks concert.
Yeah, you're
and
nuts.
Then back home again. That's all going to be from Thursday night to Sunday night.
Yeah, you're nuts for that.
There's going to be a lot of caffeine.
Yeah, you're nuts. You're nuts for that.
I'm just excited now that I realize we're stopping at Buc-ee's. When we went to the Bell Witch Cave in September, the Buc-ee's trip was just so ridiculous. Like, I was going to go meet friends, and then we were going to drive to the Bell Witch Cave together. On the way to their house, I got canes because it was just 10 miles down the road. So I get to their house, and they're like, well, did you eat? We didn't eat. We're going to stop at Zaxby's. I've never had Zaxby's. I'd like to try it.
Right.
I've now eaten at Cane's and Zaxby's in about a 30-minute window. After we finished our Zaxby's, we drove to Buc-ee's and loaded up on snacks. And we're eating these snacks in the car on our way to meet 2 other friends for dinner. We were going to a Mexican restaurant for dinner.
That's insane.
It was ridiculous. So at Buc-ee's, I'm like running around the store like a kid at Disneyland, like I do when I'm there. They had the mascot there. I got my picture taken. I knocked like 10 children out of my way to go have my picture taken with the mascot. When I got to the register, I was so excited, and I was very pleasant and cheerful, which is not normally me at all. Normally, I'm much more bitter and angry, but Buc-ee's
Right.
brings out the best in me. We had said we were going to stop on the way back, too. Well, I, of course, fell asleep in the car because I was exhausted. I think they were thinking about skipping Buc-ee's. And as we were passing the sign on the highway, I like woke up, big stretch and sigh, and I look, I'm like, oh, there it is. So they had no choice but to stop because I could sense it. I knew it was there. It was 4 a.m. We had the place to ourselves. It was glorious.
Oh, that's the best. Yeah. Yeah. Around that time is the best time.
What really tops us off is when I skip up to the register with my basket. And yes, I think I did skip. I was so happy. The cashier looks at me and goes, "You again?" It was the same one from earlier in the day.
You know what's funny about that in a sort of really inadvertent way? Whenever Gage and I were walking into the Buc-ee's, and mind you, it was about the same time, like 3 a.m. whenever we went. And I'm thinking it was one of the other workers that he was talking to. But as soon as we walk into the door, he's like, "Hey, Noah." And we look at each other like, "What?" And I'm like, and we're kind of like, "I've never been to Buc-ee's before. How do you know my name? Like, what is this? It's like Big Brother watching me right now? Like, is this really what they're on right now? Like, they just know my." But I think he was talking. I think he was talking to like one of his coworkers, and it just happened to be a coincidence that their name was Noah. But it was so funny. And then I had that slight thought. I was like, "Man, is this one of our followers? Like, he knows me? Like, whoa." It wasn't that, unfortunately.
Oh, that would have been cool.
That'd have been way cooler, but that's not what happened.
Either way, Buc-ee's is a magical place. Magic happens at Buc-ee's. There's a reason I call it Disneyland.
I think some people would like probably look at it and be like, "That's a cult."
I'm all right with that.
Well, I know you're all right with
Well,
that.
now
That goes without saying.
I wonder if there's a haunted Buc-ee's somewhere.
I was thinking of that. Like, I was like, just for you, we'd have to find a haunted Buc-ee's and do an episode there.
And if there isn't one, we can find a way to haunt one.
That doesn't sound right.
I've had a number of different options pop into my head in just the last few seconds. Different ways we could potentially haunt Buc-ee's. We go there and we create an egregore.
No, I don't think this is a good idea.
There's all of a sudden there's something that knocks the children over by the mascot.
And it's like everybody at first would be like, "Oh, it's a demon that hates children." It's like, actually, no, that's just the spirit of Christopher that's so excited to see Buc-ee.
Oh my God. Oh, I told you that place brings out the best in me.
I don't know. It sounds like it's bringing out the worst in you.
Oh no, when it comes to the worst, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you're talking about creating an egregore to knock over children. Like, I can understand from your point of view, you think you're right, and you think everything is fine. But I feel like from everybody else's perspective, they're actually sitting here going, "No, that's not good." So therefore, you think it's the best part of you, when everybody else is sitting there like, "That's pretty bad." So maybe we shouldn't create an egregore that knocks over children.
And just for the record, I did not actually knock over any children to have my picture taken with the mascot. There was no one in line. The mascot was wide open, so I didn't have to.
I think it's good that we clear the air on that.
but then I add, it was clear I didn't have to. I didn't have to knock anyone.
Yeah, it's kind of still.
I would have if there were need.
It still insinuates that had there been children, you would have knocked them over to take a picture with Bucky's. I actually honestly, one could argue that your obsession with Bucky's is actually more of like a possession, and we have to actually like perform an exorcism to get that out of there.
This may be a story for another day, but this could have all started during Parapsychon, the Airbnb, rigor mortis beaver.
Honestly, it's actually the Rick and Mortis beaver coming back for revenge.
Okay, I have to say something about it, or people are going to be like, "What the fuck?" 4 of us shared an Airbnb for Parapsychon weekend out at the Ohio State Reformatory. And 2 of the guys who drove together from Connecticut, one of them was saying on their way, they passed 20 dead deer on the highway and 1 rigor mortis beaver. And I said, I think that's going to be my new spirit. And then it just got worse. I mean, we were creating all these memes and things with like roadkill beavers. We found like this cartoon of 4 little beavers sitting in a circle like they were telling a story, and we photoshopped in an actual dead roadkill one with the caption, "The moral of the story, look both ways before crossing the street, kids."
Jesus. Oh my god, this is so horrible. Like, today's episode is like, I feel like it's taken a turn for the worse. You can definitely tell as you watch this episode this week that today's episode really, there was no plan. This is really just us having a fucking normal conversation. And I don't know that that's a good thing. You see what's great too is because I was like, obviously towards the end of this, I was gonna be like, hey, one of the things that, I mean, first of all, like, obviously to kind of talk about what the title of today's is Thanksgiving, which we haven't talked about Thanksgiving like literally at all, but we're in the spirit of Thanksgiving because there's just so many things to be thankful for here at Crooked Path Paranormal. We've had such a fun year, and a lot of the things that we've gotten to experience this year and where we're going to be going into next year, there's so many things that are coming our way that we have to be thankful for. And one of the biggest things that I'm thankful for is just how much our little YouTube channel has grown even in the 6 months since we started. And we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. We're currently at 959, so we're like right there. And so obviously it's like any way that people can help us out there, reach more people, get more subscribers, we appreciate everybody in that sort of sense. And it's just, and then I was thinking, like, this episode might make us lose a couple subscribers. We'll be going backwards. Oh, it's been an episode.
I mean, I don't think it was that bad.
I feel like knocking children over at Bucky's gets kind of.
But I didn't actually do that.
I thought about it. That's the problem. But you thought about
I thought about creating an egregore.
you whole like talked about creating an egregore to knock down children. I don't think it gets much worse than that at this point.
It was Zeke. I'm gonna blame Zeke.
You can't just blame. See, oh, this goes back into our conversation on Sunday evening, like going into Monday, like whenever we're talking about the task that we had to do, and like you're all confused because like it involves Zeke, and I'm like sitting there trying to explain to you like you are Zeke, like Zeke is a part of you.
But the way it played out, there kind of was a separation. Like he had to function at least once. He had to function separately outside of me, but I had to have awareness of it. And then the second time, I was just gone.
Well, and again, it's kind of, I think, like, in that moment, like, I think it was the way you were saying it was just, like, it was making it a lot more complicated than I think it is.
I was
Because you were, like, talking like Zeke was just this, like, entity that was, like, oh, man, how are we going to do this? Is like, Zeke is you. Like, you're essentially just, like, and this is the part that, like, why it seems like a totally different person is because all you're really doing is falling into that specific part of yourself.
Right. I get that.
So that's where it was kind of like, and that's what we were saying is like, you're really just, and it's kind of like for you, this is easier. If they were to say it to me, that's why it would like kind of like, oh, well, like, I know some of my past lives, but I don't like channel them the same way. Where for you, you actually can channel that side of you. So for you, this was a lot easier, but you were sitting there like stressing out about it. We're like,
I was stressed.
like we were trying to figure out like, why are you stressing about this right now? Like you literally do this all the time. Like this is a regular occurrence for you.
I wanted to make sure I did it the right way. I didn't want to fuck it up.
And it was also just funny too, because a lot like there's how many conversations where we're doing something, and you'll look at me and tell me like you got this. I trust it. Everything will happen the right way. But then it was like when you were told this, you're sitting there freaking out, like what is gonna happen? It was good. It was good. It was a good one though. It was a good one.
It was good. That was a good night.
It was.
The whole thought I had about would be interesting to tap into him and put myself in a place that has bats. What are the odds that right after I say that, there's bats?
There was a bat. Yeah.
I know, and I was not mentally prepared because it's November. They should be hibernating.
Well, as we kind of conversated about that, I mean, I think that was on purpose. And I think you need to be prepared for things like that because for the things that we're going through and we're doing right now, like getting over that fear is going to be a huge part of your path, of your test.
I mean, I walked through the butterfly garden at Lilydale. I did.
Sorry. I know you did, and that was great. That was awesome.
And I even sat there and looked at them. I
also want you to take a second for the viewers at home that are watching this right now. I want you to compare what you just said. You're comparing a flying bat to flying butterflies.
They're the same. I'm terrified of butterflies too, because what's the common denominator? They're spastic and unpredictable.
I feel like butterflies really aren't that spastic. Like they're not that fast. Like
I feel like 1 minute it can be over there and then it's here. I love how I was like, like it's some sort of alien thing that just
it's like I feel like where even though like I'm not afraid of bats, like I could give you a bat because like they are kind of creepy looking and they are very fast and like unpredictable and stuff like that, and they will bite and they do have rabies. That one, it's like okay, I can somewhat make it make sense. The butterflies, like they're like a butterfly will not harm you. I feel like there is no harm that will ever come from a butterfly, ever.
I don't know. They might have rabies.
I don't think they do. I don't think that's a thing. I think it's just I think you're trying to make it make sense, but it's just not.
I did much better in the butterfly garden at Lilydale than I did in a butterfly exhibit in the Milwaukee Public Museum. That did not go well. I took 3 steps in and I was ready. One was right here and I was ready to burn it down. And then I tried to leave. I tried to walk out the door and the guy at the door was like, "You can't go out this way. You have to go through." I gave him 2 choices. I said, 1, I'm either going out this door after you step out of my way, or 2, you can stand in my way and I'm still going out this door. So you get to write this chapter, but it's going to end the same no matter what.
Oh, my.
He got out of my way. He let me go.
Oh, my.
Otherwise, the headlines would have been like massacre at the butterfly exhibit, 150 dead butterflies as I'm running through, like swatting at everything, screaming, crying, kicking. Kick it.
Oh, well, I think we'll leave today's episode on that note.
I think I need a nap.
I know I need a nap before I go into work tonight, but
oh, good luck with that.
I know. I'm not excited.
I bet.
But yeah, just again, we do just want to send a huge, just big thank you to everybody that follows our channel and watches our stuff. Like I couldn't be more appreciative of the things that everybody does for this channel and the attention that you give us sometimes, even though we're kind of crazy. And today's episode is kind of a good example of that because we were all over the place with this episode, but it was a fun one. So
it was fun.
Yeah. So again, just thank you to everybody that watches our stuff, and we hope that you continue to like what we do here as we sort of grow into the next year, into the new year coming up here sooner rather than later. And we'll see you guys next week.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. See you next time.
Happy Thanksgiving.